Hello, I'm Dana Cowley, your host for Charter Local Edition Northwest, and today we're in Olympia, Washington, covering the 2015 legislative issues. My guest today is Republican Representative Matt Manweller. He's from Ellensburg. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
My pleasure.
I think it's important before we start to tell our viewers that you're also a college professor at Central Washington University, and you teach political science and economics.
I do, yeah. I teach at Central Washington University, and I take a leave of absence in the winter to come legislate.
And so that helps give you some perspective when we talk about transportation, gas tax, and the budget.
It does. It really does.
What are your thoughts about the transportation package that lawmakers are looking at this year?
Well, what we know is that Washington State is a highly trade-dependent state. I think 40% of all jobs in Washington are tied to exports in some ways. That means we have to have functioning ports, we have to have a functioning rail system, and we have to allow our truckers to get to those ports. However, the question always comes back to cost and are we spending the money the most efficient way possible?
What do you think the best options are to support those things you're talking about, also to support a growing population?
Right. Well, I think what we're seeing, given some of the mistakes out there, high-profile mistakes, Bertha getting stuck and bridges not floating, is that what the taxpayers are telling me is, if you want to spend money on a transportation package, I understand the need, but promise me that you're not going to spend it on a boondoggle. Promise me that you're going to spend it wisely. So we've introduced a series of 8 reforms that we really hope become law, that changes the way we permit, the way we do prevailing wage, the way we charge tax on a tax, which is almost unheard of, and the way that we permit these projects. Because we could get the same amount of projects for about a third of the cost, I think, if we did these things right.
What do you think the chances are of those things happening?
It really depends on those reforms. The Senate sent over 8 reforms, and it passed out in a bipartisan manner. If the House leaves those reforms in place, it could pass. If the House strips out those reforms, I think it's not going to pass.
You know, it's historically over the years we've talked a lot about gas taxes, and Washington has always turned to a gas tax to fund many things, particularly transportation for our agriculture products. How do you think that affects the overall economy? What's your opinion about that as an educator?
Well, every dollar spent here is not spent somewhere else. So when we raise the gas tax $15 billion, that means there'll be $15 billion of less consumer spending, but there could be $15 billion more construction spending. The loss is in the bureaucracy. What if we take $15 billion out of the consumer sector, we spend $3 billion of it on paperwork, and then we only spend $12 billion in the construction sector? That's what we economists call dead weight loss. We just lost $3 billion. So our goal, my goal, is to make sure that for every dollar of taxation, we get a real dollar of spending in the economy, and that it doesn't get lost in paperwork and environmental mitigation and other silly stuff that provides no benefit to our taxpayers.
Yes, you want that dollar circulating.
Exactly. You could be an economist.
Well, no, that would not be good. But turning now to the budget, what's your anticipation for what you expect to see out of the budget and what that will mean for the average citizen in our state?
Well, we have $37 billion to spend. That's $3 billion more than we had 2 years ago. I'm afraid some people think that even $3 billion more is not enough, and they're going to roll out about $2 to $3 billion in taxes. What I'm going to tell my constituents is, I'll spend the $3 billion of additional money you already sent us, but I'm not going to ask for another $3 billion on top of that. That just seems unreasonable. That's a 9% raise. Did you get a 9% raise? Nope. I didn't get a 9% raise. I think government can live with a 9% raise.
All right, Matt, thank you so much for joining us. Always appreciate you joining us and sharing your perspective. This is Matt Manweller. He's the elected representative from Ellensburg. I'm Dana Cowley with Charter Local Edition Northwest in Olympia. Thanks for watching.